Hi students, this is Mr. Nguyen. Today we're going to be talking about conditional statements and how to identify the hypothesis and conclusion of the statement, okay? And I'm going to be using IXL examples. Before we begin though, let's review really quick about the two parts of the conditional statement. We have the if part and the then part, right? The if part, everything that follows the word if is considered the hypothesis, okay? And everything, the sentence that follows the word then is the conclusion. Now, the hypothesis and the conclusion do not include the words if or then, okay? So just the statements that follow them. So if you look at this example, it says, if today is Monday, then I have to go to school today. So, and the question is looking for the hypothesis, right? So as we said before, the hypothesis is the sentence that follows immediately after the word if, right? So today is Monday would be the hypothesis for this example. Now for this one, we're looking for the conclusion. And remember, the conclusion is everything that follows the word then. So he will need a stamp. So Anthony will need a stamp is the conclusion, which is this option. Submit. And I'm going to skip along in just a minute here to let you see some other example that's a little bit more challenging. Okay, let's do a couple more. If at the hypothesis, we're looking for a hypothesis, so a number squared equals 9. So the number squared equal 9 would be the hypothesis. Conclusion, she is allergic to poodles would be the conclusion. Okay, now don't select this, the word dog. So poodle is specific and dogs are more general. So we have to select the statement that matches exactly as the conditional statement. Okay, all right, I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip to the part where it's no longer in the if and then form. All right, so if we look at this one, it's looking for the hypothesis. It is a non-if then statement, right? We can turn this into an if then statement. So how can I put this into an if then statement here? Well, let's take a look at our notes. The if then statement is usually looking at cause and effect, right? What causes something to happen, right? So in here, it says if two angles are vertical, then they are congruent. You can rewrite that in a non-if then statement because it means that if the angles are vertical, then they are congruent. So the angles being vertical causes them to be congruent, right? So if we look back over here, it says it is very sunny outside. Accordingly, I need some sunscreen. Okay, so because it is sunny, then you need sunscreen, right? So you can say that if it is sunny outside, then I need some sunscreen, right? So the fact that it is sunny outside causes you to need a sunscreen, right? So if we're looking at hypothesis, then we can turn this into an if-then statement. I'm going to type it out so that you can see the if and the then, right? I'm going to say if it is very sunny outside, then I need some sunscreen. Make some sunscreen. And it makes sense if you say it to yourself in your head. You can say, "Hey, does this make sense?" And if it does make sense, it probably is correct, right? So we're looking at hypothesis, so the part that goes after the word if it is very sunny outside, right? So I am going to select the first option here. Awesome. Okay. Let's try a couple more of these. And see if you can turn this into an if-then statement, right? When it is raining, the streets are wet. So the rain causes the street to be wet. So you can say that if it is raining, then uh, the streets are wet. Okay. You cannot say if it is wet, then the streets are, if the streets are wet, then it is raining because the street could be wet by some other facts, right? With people putting water on it, right? But if it is rain, the streets will be wet. Okay. So if we're looking at conclusion, the streets are wet would be the conclusion. Okay. Awesome. Let's try another one. Oh, this one is if then, so we can skip along. I'll probably do a couple more examples and that's it. Hypothesis, we're looking at hypothesis. So we're going to turn this into an if then statement. The beverage contains caffeine, then that beverage is coffee. I can't say the word beverage. Beverage. Okay, beverage. Um, so if it is coffee, then it contains caffeine. So if the beverage is coffee, then it contains caffeine. Caffeine. Spell that. Oh, there it is. Caffeine. There it is. Okay. So, and remember to say it back in your head to make sure that it makes sense, right? So if we're looking at hypothesis, then the hypothesis would be the beverage is coffee. Okay. So it's not the beverage is coffee. Oh, it doesn't say regular, but here's regular. I guess it's supposed to be regular coffee because if it's decaf, then it doesn't have caffeine, right? So the beverage is regular. But there's a little mistake here, I think. The original statement still has to have the word regular in it, right? The original statement didn't have regular, but for the purpose of our practice, I think this would be the correct option right here. Okay. All right, guys, I hope those examples help you identify the if and then or the conclusion, the hypothesis and conclusion, and also help you rewrite those conditional statements that are not in if then form. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.